is everyone?
I'm back, baby.
It's Jake Ciely.
I'm great. Everybody else sucks.
Oh,
Oh no! It's every nightmare I've ever had!
excuse me?
It's time to check the link.
Pretty crazy, huh? But it doesn't matter because none of this has anything to do with the show.
You know what? You just made the list!
Oh, wait, you serious? Let me laugh even harder.
It's all in football.
Sure, we talk about it all the time. Really? No.
What's up, you docs? It's all in football. Week 1 is here. We already kind of started week 1 yesterday with Chris Meany. Today is Tuesday. Today's the official real show of week 1 because we're already going to start talking waivers with Lauren. As a reminder, ALLIN code all in gets you 25% off at FTN. What else we got over here, Tino, that I have to remember? Oh, mine at theathletic.com. Oh, that one, the 25% off bets match drafters. I've already done that. Oh, that reminds me, I got to do another draft tonight. I got to spend all my money and get all these best balls going. So yeah, at drafters, which Meany and I were in a draft together, Lauren. We ended up one somehow. I don't know how that happened, but if you go to theathletic.com/BetsTV, the capitals, all the letters, BETSTV, all capitals, you can actually get your first month free, which the waiver article is already up, which is what we're going to talk about today. And we're going to talk about a lot. Like I see Lauren smiling, excited, happy. I'm already tired and annoyed because somebody already said, wow, this would be more helpful if there weren't so many running backs in your waiver column and if people played in such deep leagues. I'm like, all right, I've already got complaints, Lauren, that my waivers are too deep. That's where we're at already. It's week 1. I couldn't even get to week 2.
No, that's a shame because the next complaint will be like, why aren't there any more running backs that are available on the waiver wire? It's going to be an absolute desert out there, my friends. So pay attention because some of these guys might actually surprise you. So yeah, that I don't think you can do anything right ever, Jake. So maybe that's
No,
the thing.
mean you already got on the train like last night, leaving a message like, where are my topics for tomorrow? So like
I did, and then I also put in I put in those notes too after you're like, get used to it. I'm like, you're so bossy.
Get used to it. So there you go. All right. You know what, Lauren? Tell everybody, and just in case they're first. This is week 1, so it might be the first time they're tuning in all year long, and hopefully you're with us for the next 18 weeks. But Lauren, where can everybody find you in case they don't know who you are?
Right here at
Well, if they're
Stepmom
listening,
Lauren.
they can't see what you're pointing at.
Oh, that's true. But you know what? You should watch too. You should watch and listen. You can find me at Stepmom Lauren. For everyone who's cool and watching, there you go. For everyone who is still cool and listening, thank you very much. Yeah, Stepmom Lauren. I also have a website where all of my content goes. It's stepmomlauren.com. I'm sprinkled around lots of places. So yeah, usually just the best place to find my work is my website.
Yeah, it actually had somebody in the comments already say that they thank you for clarifying which website they should go to because they almost made that mistake. Could be not safe for work if you're listening at work, so be careful.
Could be not safe, but I have pushed her to page 2 at least, I think.
Oh, nice.
I hope so.
That's
I hope
very
so.
well done.
Yeah, that would. Thank you. It was hard. Okay. Yeah. Just don't take that the wrong way either. But yeah, no, it was a thing. Thank goodness I also build websites for a living because I was able to kind of, circumvent that situation. I did. I ousted her. Get out of here. So I don't know how many
of to the other site, the one.
I don't know. I don't even know. But you know what? I don't know how many of my Twitter followers are actually just confused 15-year-old boys. Not
hey,
sure.
Look, at least it looks like you have a nice follower count. So there you go.
I do. And I have really great people that interact. So come follow me at Stepmom Lauren, all platforms. Come say hi.
Lauren is much nicer than I am. I'm sure everybody's not surprised by that. So let's talk week 1 waivers. I will get to Matt's question in a second, Tino, because it relates to the first one off the jump. Somebody that, look, I don't remember if did we talk about Tyson with you or is it with me?
I don't think so.
I talked about it with somebody because it was when the Dobbins injury happened. No, It wasn't with you because we didn't even get to circle back because you hated J.K. Dobbins and you cursed him and you got him hurt because you hated Dobby. It's all your fault.
This is not. No, you be quiet now. That was not my fault. You hush over there. Oh,
so since then, as soon as that happened, I tweeted out, did a little blurb for The Athletic, which by the way is part of the reason you should get that free month. Is like, so there was
Absolutely.
a blurb and I said, pay attention to Tyson Williams because he's got 3-down ability. He's big. He's over 6 feet tall. Well, right, maybe around 6 feet. 200 plus, runs a 4.48 according to BYU because he didn't go to the combine because we had all that situation last year. Undrafted free agent who didn't get a chance to show anything last year because of what happened last year. So somebody that a lot of people had overlooked, including the team, and you saw what he could do in the preseason. And then as soon as Dobbins got hurt, I said, look for him. Justice Hill was playing on special teams. Tyson was actually splitting reps behind Dobbins. So that happened. I bring all that up to say is like the team had already kind of made it clear that Williams was the guy. And this is before Justice Hill is now out for the year, unfortunately for him, because he blew an Achilles. Yeah. They bring, and this is where I want to go, Lauren. The reports are they're already bringing in Devonta Freeman and Le'Veon Bell. So the immediate question I get, should I really go for Tyson? By the way, for everybody out there, it's S-O-N, Tyson, not Tyson. Let's get that correct. I know week 8 people are going to still ask about this, but are you still in on Williams, or does the rumors of Freeman and Bell concern you? Because I've already said not in the least, but some people might be more concerned than I am.
I'm not concerned in the least. I'm with you on this one because if you look at the way that the Ravens play their run game, this is spread out. Now, do I really love Tyson Williams? No, I don't absolutely love it, but he is kind of a mustache. You know what I'm saying? Because the way that they have their run game, as I just mentioned, it is spread out amongst multiple running backs, including Lamar Jackson. So there will be a lot of running. This is a run first.
Did
run
you just
all
call
the
Lamar
time
Jackson
type of
a running
team.
back?
I sure did. I sure did. Yeah, he's, whatever. He's got some legs and he knows how to use them. So just remember that too. But I mean, even the beat reporters before the Justice Hill injury, like you were saying, it's Tyson Hill, everybody. He is the bona fide RB2. If you need some depth at running back and you need somebody that you can stash on your bench, maybe see what kind of happens if you have that ability, I say go for it. I'm not worried about Freeman. I'm not worried about Bell. I wasn't even worried about Justice Hill. Literally, this changes nothing for me. I like Tyson Hill. You brought up the Taysom, and now I'm saying Tyson Hill. This is your fault. If I can get the sides right here.
Just think of Mike Tyson. So
I can't.
Tyson.
I can't. Tyson Williams. And there's too many Williams. There should be a moratorium on people with the last name
Williams.
Oh,
no. I kind of,
one
of my teams is pretty much all the Williams. Like I have Tyson, Jamal, Damian, Daryl, Tyrell. Just give me all the Williamses. They're all great values.
Mike.
Like this is Mike. Well, no, because he doesn't know how to land on his feet. He thinks landing on his back is the best opportunity to make a catch every single time. That's why he keeps getting hurt. Like Mike Williams.
He's an uncool Williams.
No. Just in general, I would love Mike. Like, hey, people forget in that draft that people were making the argument Mike Williams was the best receiver in that draft. People already have forgotten that, to go back to the Corey Davis situation. But all that being said, can we get like a letter or like a community group or some type of petition just to Mike Williams say, like, dude, you don't have to make every catch that physical on your body. Like, take it easy on yourself. Go watch some Marvin Harrison film. Like, learn to have, just keep yourself healthy, right? Can we
He's
ask him to do that?
incredibly aggressive. Oh my word, is he? And every time he does, when he comes down with the football, you're like, what did he break? It's like watching Raheem Mostert run. You're like, you don't have to run through a human body. That's not necessary. You can run around.
So
I don't know. Wait for your block. I don't know. See, Barkley knows. Barkley knows what's up.
100%. So let me spin this in a different way for you, Lauren, because these are some of the questions I'm getting. For Tyson Williams, would you drop this player to go pick up Tyson Williams? Nyheim Hines, would you drop Hines for Williams? Okay, Nyheim Hines is your RB5 for Tyson Williams.
Yeah. You know what? I think I would. But it also just depends on who I have starting. So if Nyheim Hines is on my bench, I might do that. Simply because we're talking about Marlon Mack, obviously Jonathan Taylor, that are going to be ahead of him in the depth chart. I think I might do that. It'd be tough though, but I would do it.
All right, how about, let me think of who else. There's some other names. I'm trying to think of the names that I was
list
getting. I should have made the list of the ones that people were asking me to say, would you drop this person?
I was ready. I was ready for the list drop, and you were not. So
no, that's because
it's on you, buddy.
Look, I'm already. Ooh, I was about to word something very poorly in my mind. I'm glad I ran it through my mind. I was gonna say, I'll give you a glimpse. So I was gonna use a word when you go out to get food, and if they bring you your food, and then I was gonna say, I'm already doing this to take care of my fans. The food
Okay.
service. If you
Okay.
can, like, so I was gonna say, and that's doing that to my fans, like, is not necessarily the best way to put things. If you can put those two and two together, yeah. So you got it now. No, so I was already taking care. I already have over 100 comments in the waiver. That's what I'm saying. It's like I'm already answering your questions in the waiver column. Wait, look. That's the sub alone. You can come yell at me, and I'm going to answer your question every way. Anyway, so, all right, let's say, of course, you could need wide receivers more than running backs, but for all intents and purposes, Lauren, we know how hard it is to find running backs. So would you drop somebody like a Tyrell Williams to go pick up Tyson?
Without a doubt, without even a second hesitation.
Sterling Shepard?
That one's a tough one. Yes.
Ooh, see, I say no there. I say just because Kenny Galladay's still not on the field.
It's hard. It's hard.
But that kind of
gives.
gives. No, but that's a good range. It gives. How about we're going to talk about them today? Actually, you know what? Let's just talk to the next running back, and let's bring this into the conversation. Wayne Gallman. Yeah. So we haven't talked since Wayne Gallman signed. He was waived by the way, for everybody out there, waived by the 49ers, signed by the Falcons. Then they let Kadri Allison go. So he's basically replacing Allison, and that's where I'm going with this. Is the fact that everybody's like, ooh, so this is a twofold question, Lauren, despite the fact that it's a waiver question. Is one, are people are saying, are you concerned about Mike Davis for the fact that they brought in Wayne Gallman? And then two, is Wayne Gallman now a priority backup to go pick up in all your leagues?
Yes and yes. I have a thing for Wayne Gallman, and I don't really know why. I think it's just because he's always
secretly.
No, I'm not. I just think that he has always been the bridesmaid, and like rarely the bride, unless he's like a fill-in proxy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really like Wayne Gallman. I like the way he plays. He's always monster on the field. You know what I'm saying? So like last year he had 147 rush attempts, only 682 yards. I know we would have liked to see a little bit more out of there. 6 touchdowns. He had 27 targets, 21 receptions, 114 yards. It's not like he is a slouch. And I really do like Wayne Gallman. And when I say, am I worried for Mike Davis? No, I'm not like, doom and gloom about it. But it does kind of make me think, if I do have Mike Davis on my roster, I would make some room for Wayne Gallman. If anything, you can use him as a very valuable trade piece if you need to. Or if something happens with Mike Davis, you have his backup already ready to go. I see this very much as like a, maybe not so much, but sort of like a Melvin Gordon, Javonte Williams type of deal. I am very happy having both of them, or even like a DeAndre Swift, Jamal Williams type of deal. I want to see how that's going to shake out because Wayne Gallman has been pretty stalwart, and I do like him a lot, and I don't think that he's just going to be a no-name piece that they just run out to give Mike Davis a break.
So the backfield right now, and this is why I like to go to the first part of the question, is my answer is no and yes. My answer is no, I'm not concerned about Mike Davis because I wasn't concerned about Mike Davis before this, and I'm not concerned now because they picked up Wayne Gallman from being waived. Like, what is Wayne Gallman really? He's shown to be a fine NFL backup, but where it comes down to is I also, to say no, where I disagree with you, I still actually agree with you in a way, Lauren, because look at the backfield. And this is where I come down to, this is why I'm not concerned about Mike Davis, but still like Wayne Gallman, is because what is the backfield? What was it before Wayne Gallman? It was Mike Davis, Kadri Allison, and Cordero Patterson moving to full-time, quote-unquote, running back. I say quote-unquote because he might run some routes. But that being said, that's their backfield. That's it. That's the end of it. 3 running backs. So, 2.5 running backs.
Yeah, I know.
So that's why, like, while Gallman is going to have touches, it's still Mike Davis getting 65, 70% of it, even if you give Gallman 25, 30%. So that's what I'm saying. Like, Patterson will be in the mix, but that's where I'm not concerned about Mike Davis. If Mike Davis gets hurt, but we just saw Mike Davis and people talk about his efficiency and he wore down. He had one of his best games at the end of the season. I don't believe, I think the wore down thing is a narrative. Mike Davis was just never going to be a 4.5 yard per carry guy. And I'm glad you brought up Melvin Gordon because that's my pushback all the time is everybody's like, well, what about this? What about that? I want volume, because if you go back to 2017, 2 top 10 running backs and Leonard Fournette and Melvin Gordon didn't even average 4 yards per carry, but finished there because of volume. Hey, you know what? Okay, 2017 was a little while ago, Lauren. How about let's go back to last year where James Robinson and David Montgomery on terrible offensive lines and terrible offenses finished as top 10 running backs, one of them inside the top 5, because of volume. So that's why I'm okay with Mike Davis, but also agree with you. Definitely go pick up Wayne Gallman. So let me go back to Matt's question at the beginning. Matt said he just dropped. First of all, Matt, let me say this for everybody out there. Like, it's week 1. People are going to be like, I can't believe you're angry in week 1. No, I'm just saying this as a precursor to the entire season. Don't ask us before you do it. So you don't have to, because I bring this up. You can throw this one on the screen, Tino, because this is a great situation. He's like, he already dropped Pollard for Tyson in the PPR league, but he's the Zeke owner. What are my thoughts? So, I say this to say, if it was the wrong move, it's too late. You potentially now miss him on waivers. So that's why I'm saying ask us beforehand. So Pollard if I have Zeke, so this is one of the things, Lauren, is I'm not hung up on getting my own backups because I say this all the time. If you have your own backup, best case scenario, you get 1 running back because Zeke goes down, you have Pollard, still 1. Flip side, if you have Tyson and you don't have Pollard, yes, you expose yourself to that risk of if Zeke goes down, you don't have Pollard. But if Gus Edwards goes down, now you have 2 running backs. And that's my point, it's kind of how you treat your drafts in general. Do you want the upside because the upside is 2, but the potential is 0? Or do you want to play the middle ground and guarantee yourself that 1? So for me, I'm okay with this move, but I know some people, maybe even you, would say, no, I'd rather just go get Pollard back.
I don't know. I don't mind this move either because, like you said, I'm a big fan of diversification. So if you want to diversify your team so that your eggs aren't all in one basket, I say go for it. The only thing is that how well do you know your league and how badly did somebody want Tony Pollard as, that kind of insurance policy? So maybe you could have gotten something from Tony Pollard in a trade, but if not, then you made the right move here because like Jake's saying, we're talking about spreading out the opportunity here. And I don't know how much of a role Tony Pollard is going to have unless Zeke goes down. So when we're looking at the other side of the ball, when we're talking about Tyson Williams and we're talking about Gus Edwards, I am very, very confident that Tyson Williams will have a role regardless of whether or not Gus Edwards plays. So here in this instance, I do like taking Tyson Williams here over Tony Pollard, getting rid of him because you now have another option that will see touches as opposed to one that may just be used to give Zeke a break or is going to be there in case he gets hurt. But right here, you're looking at value. You're looking at what Jake said, volume, and you're also looking at opportunity. And Tyson Williams has that opportunity over Tony Pollard right now.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing too. Is as you said, everybody wanted Gus Edwards.
What I said. Don't listen to Jake. Listen to me.
Everybody said they want. Let's just keep drafting Gus Edwards, even if you're drafting Dobbins, because Gus Edwards can have standalone value and be one of the best backups. So even if Dobbins didn't get hurt, what you're saying is now you just kick everybody up the line as Edwards is now the lead option, who still isn't going to be used that much in the passing game. We've seen that. Like Gus Edwards is essentially Derrick Henry in the passing game. Like that's how limited we should expect the workload to be. So where's that going to fall to is to Williams. And that was even before the Justice Hill situation. So a few more questions before we get back to the waivers. Coach Hamlin, Tyson Williams or Gio for the final roster spot. This is Williams for me easy. I want nothing to do with the Buccaneers backfield. And here's the other part of it, Lauren, is everybody's like, oh, Gio can be James White. I even said this in the waiver column. Okay, maybe. But what's James White? Best case scenario, James White is an RB3, half and full PPR. James White was also on a team without Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and Antonio Brown. He had Rob Gronkowski, but also look at the wide receivers that were there. This isn't the same situation. And this is a backfield where Arians lies to us all the time. He can say, Giovanni Bernard looks great, but he did the same thing lying to us about Ronald Jones.
He and Lenny are besties. What are you talking about? He and Lenny are besties. There's that one line when he calls him Lenny in an interview before, and I agree. Don't trust.
And then he went to Ronald Jones.
Yes. It's just this is that Tyson Williams over Giovanni Bernard. As much as I have a very big soft spot for Giovanni Bernard because I heart him. This is an easy decision as well. Tyson Williams. Again, I'm just going to go back to you're like RB4 as opposed to an RB2 who is guaranteed to have time on the field, opportunity and volume.
Yeah. All right. And quick precursor again for everybody. Tuesday show. Rankings are Wednesdays. Rankings with Jeff. So your start sits Wednesdays. Not ignoring your questions. Just come back tomorrow. Also, it's Tuesday. You still have at least 2 days before you have to start anybody. And you still have 5 days before we get all excited. But no, Tuesdays, waivers. That's what this show is about. And we can speculate on being able to start some people, but save those questions for tomorrow. I know you're excited. I know we're all super excited as Lauren just shit. But yeah.
It just hit me, Jake. It just hit me, Jake. Thursday is real football.
It is. Hey, We already had real football if you watch college football. We already had Notre Dame.
I understand that. Real
I
NFL
actually
football,
thought Notre Dame was
excuse
going to
me.
blow that game, and Notre
Oh
Dame
my
fashion.
God, what a game. So I live in Florida, and obviously there was that big storyline with Mackenzie Milton coming in, just making everything in fuego, and the story about his leg. And he used to be UCF.
It was like the college for everybody
It's-
out there, it was the college version of Alex Smith, basically.
Yeah, and someone posted on Twitter, which I thought was hilarious. They're like, "Is Milton gonna out Rudy Notre Dame?" And I was like, "That was the greatest tweet I think I've ever read."
It almost happened.
I know it was a great game. I love college football.
You know what happened in the end, right? Two parts.
No.
What a surprise! FSU missed the potential game-winning field goal. I legitimately feel bad for the kid, but at the same time, ban kickers. There you go. That was the greatest.
It's bad. It was really sad. I mean, but again, the storyline was there to make it monstrous.
It was a hell of a storyline. Potential
I
happen.
love
All right,
college
so
football.
on this backup situation, would you drop Darrell Williams for Goldman if you had Davis? So this was a tough. Yeah, this is tough for me because look at it this way. Let Kelly parse it out for everybody. So let's say Davis and Edwards-Helaire both go down to injury. One plays for the Chiefs, one plays for the Falcons. And that's really what it comes down to. Be like, I have Darrell Williams in a ton of places, but I'm okay if you want to go get Goldman. It kind of goes back to the Tyson situation with Pollard. It's like, do you want your backup? I understand that feeling of security and the reason you would want it because you don't want to be left with a potential zero. At the same time, I could go either way on this one, Lauren.
I could too. So when I get into this pickle, I go to experts like Jake and I check his rankings and I see who is going above the other guy. And then after that, I have a moment of thoughts and then I let it incubate and then I make a decision. So it's not like that's an easy answer for me. That one is tough and I would probably have to think about it, but
I'll go Darrell. With one L, everybody, before you say thank you. By the way, Kellen, you got it right. And you have two L's in your first name, and you still got Darrell right. So kudos to you. So there you go. Let's see. Start questions. Again, we're going to get to it tomorrow. Tomorrow. I will ask this one before we move on. So from Aberstein 1, near the bottom, Tino.
Oh, he sounds very fancy.
Aberstein. Brian Edwards, AJ Green, Bateman, or Traquan Smith. Yeah. I'm assuming this is also last roster spot. So I have talked a lot about, we're going to actually talk, you know what? Well, this will put us just right into the topic. I was going to talk about Ruggs and Edwards today. At this group, I'm going with Traquan. This is what I said in the waiver column, Lauren, is everybody's all over Callaway. Understandably. Callaway looks good. Callaway always had the skill to get behind
We talked
defenders.
about this last week, remember?
Yeah,
Because it was right after the beautiful Marquez Callaway. Or was it 2 weeks ago? I can't remember. Time
It was
has
2
no
weeks
meaning.
ago. But so
Time has no
people might
meaning.
not have listened. So that's where I'm bringing it back around. Is that
Circle back.
Jameis Winston
Let's go.
get behind? But do we know he's the number one? That was my question then. That's my question now. And if he is, guess who's the number two? Traquan Smith is still the number two. They're still the top two wide receivers for this team,
Yes.
right?
Yes, I agree with you here. Traquan Smith, that's not even a question for me. Traquan Smith all the way.
All right. Is Brian Edwards second?
What are my other options? I don't like the Raiders.
AJ Green and Rashad Bateman, who's not even healthy.
Oh, God. Yeah, Brian Edwards.
Oh, no. Okay, so let's do this. Let's move into Ruggs and Edwards, who are in the waiver column, and let's see if I can get your spirits lifted a little bit more excitement for this. I brought up Ruggs and Edwards. I have a million times. If you've listened to any podcast, you're probably like, all right, Jake, enough. We get it with Henry Ruggs and Brian Edwards. But I don't know how many times I have to say it. Like, Justin Jefferson, if you look at all rookies last year, Justin Jefferson was not the commonality. I mean, that season in general wasn't, but the majority of rookies struggled last year, at least out of the gate, if not for the full season. Running backs are a lot easier, but I'm talking about wide receivers especially. And Ruggs and Edwards were both not ready to be number ones. Edwards needed more development as a player. Ruggs shouldn't be playing outside. He should move into the slot a lot more. I bring all this up to say Ruggs was asked to play outside as soon as Edwards got hurt, who Edwards was also asked to play as a number one, and he's not ready to be a number one last year. But they've played so well, have finally got a rapport with Derek Carr, and look so good, Lauren, that John Brown wasn't going to be a starter. John Brown saw that and said, can I have my release? And the Raiders granted it. By the way, John Brown's still not signed by a team.
Which is crazy to me. Sorry, I think that's
for
crazy.
the depth that's hello Lions. And maybe he just doesn't want to play for the Lions.
Exactly.
I think he just
True.
doesn't want to go there. But that being said, they're the 1 and 2. And they're the 1 and 2, similar to they're the 1 and 2 with the Saints. So why are we not the 1 and 2 with Derek Carr, who I think you even said has been disrespected as a quarterback?
Oh, no, I didn't. I said he should be disrespected as a quarterback.
Okay. Well, then you're on the other side of that. So is that
Yeah,
why you hate Edwards? Why do you hate Edwards?
I dislike both of them. The only pass catching person I want on the Raiders is Darren Waller. P.S. The end. Moving on.
Here. Last year, over 4,000 yards, well into the 20s for touchdowns. You realize Darren Waller can only account for like 25% of that at best, right?
Totally fine, but I don't want to make the decision between, is it going to be Henry Ruggs? Is it going to be Bryan Edwards? There is not enough clarity for me there to be confident in either of those picks. Then I would look elsewhere. I'm not doing it. I'm not, because I don't like it. I can't in my own good conscience tell our fans out there to be like, I like one or the other when I honestly like neither. And I could be very wrong. I have absolutely no problem with that because I likely am, but there's nothing that jumps off the page to me. I don't know. I don't care if they're the wide receiver 1 and wide receiver 2. This is going to be the Josh Jacobs show. It'll be Kenyon Drake. It will be Darren Waller. I don't care about either one of them, and I do not want either one of them on my team.
All right. Well, you should care. And so when you miss
I'll leave the caring to you, dear. This is when you can care, and I will laugh at you for having a headache about it. Because
here's why. You know what this is very similar to?
Okay, so our J.K. Dobbins bet obviously is a no-go.
Oh, no, because now if everybody's learned from listening to you, now you've guaranteed one of them are getting hurt. You're just going to curse these guys as well. So you just ruined it.
I have power.
No. This is what I'm going to bring it back to. 100%. This is what I'm bringing it back to. A team that is very similar, in my opinion, that you made a case for one of the receivers being very disrespected, and that's Jacoby Myers and Nelson Aguilar. How much different are those two? And you, for everybody out there, the disrespect was you like Jacoby Myers. How is that any different from this when they have 2 tight ends and the backfield and Belichick? So, honest question, Lauren. How is Jacoby Myers in your mind? And I'm not trying to say this to be smart. I'm legitimately trying to ask you, for everybody out there that thinks I'm being smarmy, because I just come off naturally smarmy.
You smarmy git. Oh my God.
Jacoby Myers so easily for you over Ruggs and Edwards. Why is that different for you?
I think it's because the eyeball test from last year. I feel like I saw Jacoby Myers make some really, really solid plays. And granted, we have a whole new quarterback for the Patriots. So my argument there is kind of null and void if we really want to compare apples to apples. And I can't really say, I trust Mac Jones more. He's a rookie. But for me, I can take that late round last shot on that group, right? You're taking a shot on Bryan Edwards. You're taking a shot on Jacoby Myers. For me, I follow Jacoby Myers a little bit more closely. I'm just going to ignore what that was.
There's our Dobbins bet right there. Ruggs versus Myers.
Ruggs? Okay. Ruggs? Okay.
Yes. Ruggs versus Myers.
Wouldn't it be Ruggs and who else? Aguilar? And then
Ruggs
Jacoby
and
Myers
Edwards versus Aguilar versus Myers? No, you want to do the duos? I'll do the duos too.
Should we get spicy and do duos?
I mean, if you want to do duos, that's fine with me. I'll take it either way.
Let the people decide what we should do, what we should bet on. Either way,
duos or Ruggs versus Myers. Yeah, so it's either Ruggs versus Myers or the duos.
Okay, well, I'm taking Myers, so there you go.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so people can decide. You tell us.
Now I got him hurt. Gosh darn it! If this happens, I am never playing this game again.
No, yeah, I think it's actually quite amusing if you do. Let's see. So we already got one vote for duos. Brandon Williams, you might be late coming. Week 1 rankings tomorrow. We'll answer start-sit questions then. So let's see. Let's see if I'm trying to come back. All right, third eye guy. Is that for third eye blind? Thoughts on Terrace Marshall and Rondell Moore? If I'm taking talent, Lauren, it's Marshall, no question for me. Although I love Moore. I love both Moores. We're going to talk about both Moores because pick a Moore is the part of the situation here. Love both Moores. Love Terrace Marshall. There's a lot of talent in this wide receiver class, as there was last year. Actually, you could even argue this year is even better, despite what Justin Jefferson just did. But for all top depth. But looking at this, I'm going with Rondell Moore for this year because if AJ Green looks like the AJ Green we saw in preseason, he looks like the he looks like it's the post-injury AJ Green, not the pre-injury AJ Green. Christian Kirk is already banged up and still struggling to play on the outside if asked to play outside. And they're manufacturing touches for Rondell Moore, which even if that wasn't happening, Lauren, it's the fact that he has a path where he could be the number 2 from day one, similar to Elijah Moore. Could be the number 2 day one. On the flip side, Marshall is the wide receiver 3. Christian McCaffrey is also back on the field. Best case scenario, he's the number 2 as well, but you still have Christian McCaffrey, and that's why I'm going with Rondale Moore.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I'm going to go Rondale Moore as well. And my other argument against Terrace Marshall is there is already rapport between Sam Darnold and Robbie Anderson. So also don't forget that connection, because it's not just DJ Moore here. There's also Robbie Anderson. Even though Curtis Samuel has vacated, I don't think that matters. So I think for opportunity for this year, I'm definitely going Rondale Moore, because you're right. If he can solidify his spot behind DeAndre Hopkins, I think he can make it happen.
All right, so glad we agree on that one. Last one before we get back to our list. 16-team, 20-man rosters. This is why I don't play in those leagues. Like, I understand the appeal. I understand the appeal, but at the same time, it's just injury luck. It's just such a bitter pill to swallow in general. Let alone, like, it's just. I saw Brad Evans tweeting out. I think it was a 20-team league, and he's like, "This is what a roster in a 20-team team looks like." And I was like, "This is why I don't play in a 20-team league. As much as this is our job, and I could have better depth than most. What is your quote unquote depth? It's just, again, anyway, play how you want. I would never do it. And this is why. Most upside stash of JJ Taylor, Chris Evans, Burkhead, and Ty Montgomery. Easy answer for me. It's Chris Evans, because if Joe Mixon goes down, I think P. Ryan is just P. Ryan and was there because they didn't have any other options. Chris Evans, in my opinion, has 3 down upside and could be Joe Mixon if something happened. Not Joe Mixon. Like, he's not going to be an RB1, but I meant Joe Mixon as in his workload. How many people have to get hurt before you trust J.J. Taylor? Let me put it that way.
Yeah, that's another thing too. So that's why I'm trying to think here. And I'm like, okay, well, which one is going to have the higher upside here? There's going to have to be a path that opens up for all of these guys. I think, but I do agree with you. I have zero faith in Joe Mixon at all. So for me, I would take his back.
So you're grabbing a lot of Chris Evans. By the way, the votes are for duos. So we're doing duos. We're doing Patriots
nice.
Duo versus Raiders.
Thank you for voting. Thank you for voting, kind, good people. My constituents, do not listen to this man over here, Mr. Negative Nelly.
Speaking of duos, hey, look at that. Let's talk about what seems to be the lead duo of the Jets backfield right now. Question mark. Yeah, see, exactly. So this is one, I saved the Michael Carter because I got a lot of people who are like, well, should I drop Michael Carter for Tyson? Should I drop Michael Carter for that? Like, no. Look, first of all, you drafted Michael Carter and you probably paid more than you want to right now, because if you're drafting today, like Lauren's drafting tonight, if you're drafting today, you're getting Michael Carter in the 9th round possibly. Yeah. So earlier you were taking him the 5th or the 6th. I didn't even like him in the 5th, as Lauren and everybody knows. And I'm a huge Carter supporter. But this is what I'm going back to saying at the time, is I actually like the discount now, because the thing about Michael Carter is it was going to take time. He's in an Austin Eckler mold of his running back style. He's never going to be a bell cow. But similar to Miles Sanders' rookie season, it was going to take time for him to be the lead, because also let's talk about who the head coach is and where the head coach comes from. Oh, that Kyle Shanahan side of things, who he just brought Tevin Coleman with him. Yep. So right now it looks like it's Tevin Coleman and Ty Johnson in the lead. Carter is 3rd. I know you're not dropping Carter, but that's not the question for today, Lauren. If you had to pick between Tevin Coleman and Ty Johnson, do you have a preference, or you're just like, screw it, I don't even want anything to do with it, let somebody else figure it out because I'm just waiting on Carter anyway?
Yes, that is what I'm doing. This is so weird because I think it's situational. So if I already have like my solid running back roster, they're good, I know, and I'm maybe preparing to have some running back depth, I would really want to look at, okay, because the way that I think this is going to turn out is that Tevin Coleman is going to be, quote, the starter with the most touches, if you will. I say all of this with very sarcastic hand quotes, very vigorously. So I don't really know, because to me, I think this is going to start off as like the Tevin Coleman show, and then it's going to fade out after week 4, and it's going to start being everybody else. This is way too running back by committee. So yeah, I think I would wait on Carter if I had to choose between one of those running backs. It's not so gnarly that I'm just going to stay completely away. But Ty Johnson is going to be a problem, and there's not going to be a bell cow running back on that squad. Just understand that when you are looking at any of these running backs.
So then let me make you make a decision live on this show.
Oh, why? You're so bossy. Fine, go ahead.
You have to pick one running back to start your season with. And I'm not saying start because tomorrow start sits Wednesdays. You have to start your season. So let's say the first 3 weeks. The first 3 weeks, you have to pick a running back from the Jets or the Texans backfield. Who are you picking?
Oh, for anyone not watching, I just made a horrified face. Okay. I am going to stay on brand. I'm going to go David Johnson.
Oh, you're gonna go David Johnson. Wow.
I'll go David Johnson.
Would you drop David Johnson for Tyson Williams?
No, I would keep David Johnson.
Wow, interesting.
I'm a truther. I'm a truther.
I was gonna say you might be the last David Johnson fan left.
I need my flag. I'll plant it on my hill, and I'll hang out with DJ on it and not.
Be careful,
care.
you might hurt him. Just saying.
You be quiet over there. Oh, jeez.
Speaking of D Johnsons, how about Duke Johnson? Signs
know,
with Jacksonville. Right? Oh, this is. Ooh, Twitter was ablaze yesterday because there's like so many reactions. It's funny that I wasn't even trying to start anything. I jokingly tweeted out the sweat meme from Jordan Peele where he's the sweat's just pouring down. It's like James Robinson, teams right now seeing the Duke Johnson. I'm kidding. I like James Robinson, but what I don't like is Urban Meyer, who seems to not know what he wants to do by day, even by hour. Duke Johnson is an underrated player for the pass catching upside. He's Giovanni Bernard. Let's be honest. That's kind of what he is. But he's been brought in, and the backup to James Robinson is Carlos Hyde, who wasn't going to be used much in the passing game. I wouldn't be surprised if Duke Johnson's promoted within a week or two. Are you picking up Duke Johnson? One, because I assume probably not, because it's in the Giovanni Bernard situation. But does this concern you at all with James Robinson?
Nah, I have no concern with James Robinson with the addition of Duke Johnson whatsoever. For me, this is Urban Meyer being like, okay, I'm in the NFL. How many running backs can I logically have just in case one of them goes down? That's it. I mean, this is a competition between Carlos Hyde and Duke Johnson. I don't think this really has anything to do with James Robinson. And it all boils down to their identity. They're two completely different types of running backs, and I don't think that there's going to be a lot of, what's the word I'm looking for? Crossover. There's not going to be a lot of eating into each other's volume too much when it comes to the ground and pound game from James Robinson and when it comes to a pass catching point of view with either Carlos Hyde or Duke Johnson. I am not worried.
Yeah, I'm not worried either. The only concern I have is a little bit of the passing game, which I had already taken away from James Robinson anyway. Mostly just because the ETN, he drafted ETN. Something. I mean, we've been told since day one that Urban Meyer is just trying to figure out his own way in the NFL. I said this when they brought in Urban, but I just get the Chip Kelly feelings of coming from college, and this is just going to be.
You are so right. Oh, that's not going to be good.
You know what I even said, Lauren? And this is me like, oh, look at
me.
If
he trades James Robinson, then it's going to be
not even that.
Chip Kelly
Although
situation.
Somebody jokingly said that. Somebody jokingly said trade.
DeMarco Murray, man, come on.
I said when they brought in Urban Meyer before the draft even happened, I said the only way Trevor Lawrence doesn't work out in the NFL is if Urban Meyer ruins him. I could actually see Urban Meyer ruining Trevor Lawrence, which would be tough to do. But if
did Chip Kelly trade LaShawn McCoy or what's his face that I just said? I can't remember.
Way back then? I don't know.
Yeah,
Kelly
way back then when
everything. I don't even
he just he got rid of everybody. It was really upsetting. Anyway,
don't forget that Bill O'Brien was the one that. And I was gonna say Bill O'Brien was the one that gave up a third rounder for Duke Johnson, wasn't it? Bill O'Brien still. No. That was another trade. I was talking about Duke Johnson back in the day. I'm pretty sure.
Oh God, yeah. I try to ignore him out of my day-to-day thinking. Yes, just because I'm not even a Texans fan, and I feel for them with that hot mess that he just was like, okay, I'm out, and then now there's this S show in Texas, and it's gross.
Yeah, they're gonna need some years to recover.
Yeah.
So tight end sleepers for a question from Third Eye Guy as well. Gerald Everett ? Good tight end sleeper. I don't like it. Will Dissly still there while healthy. We did this Will Dissly thing, and I know you have coach and bringing in Gerald Everett from the Rams, and all that makes sense and all that type of stuff. But preseason told me nothing besides the fact that they're going to use both. And until it's just one, we've been kind of chasing the Seahawks group tight ends for years. And I just feel like it's always. I'd rather put it this way, Lauren. This is where I'm going to go. Could it blow up in my face? Absolutely. But I'd rather go for Tyler Kroft, who I know is basically not coming off the field for the Jets, as the only option versus a split tight end option. Because how many times did we get frustrated by O.J. Howard and Cameron Brate when those were the two? Because it was O.J. Howard was blocking so much, and then Brate would take the touchdown. Anytime I could get one tight end, like even C.J. Uzomah, I wouldn't say go get C.J. Uzomah, but if there's a tight end that's going to be on the field 70% plus of the time, I'd rather go that route than the guy splitting.
Yeah. Is Jared Cook considered a late round tight end sleeper?
Okay, well, two things. First is he is Voldemort. You do not say his name on the show. He is one of the worst players in all of football.
I'm new here. Sorry, everyone.
Because the reason for Jared Cook, now that you said his name, it's already out in the open. The reason is because I hated Jared Cook for years in fantasy because you're always chasing games. What is Deshaun Jackson? You either draft Jared Cook, put him in your lineup, never bench him, and just deal with it, or don't draft him because you can't. The problem with Jared Cook was you could never pick the games. He would show up when he's not supposed to show up against the toughest matchup possible and then have a cakewalk and do nothing and then get hurt. And then you start him and want to, because he had a good game, and then he would go zeros on you. So like that's where the Jared Cook hate came from. And people always want him as a top 10 tight end in this heyday, but it was impossible to predict, and people would try to. So that's where it comes from. All that being said, I'm not going to say the words, Lauren. I recommend Jared Cook as undervalued because everybody's paying attention to Darnell Parham and forgetting Jared Cook is on that team. But I think you could pick the words out of that sentence and figure out what I'm trying to say.
Would you like me to say it for you?
No, because you're not allowed to say it on the show.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll say it outside the show. So that person who shall not be named may be a value at the tight end position because he's very big and he's very good in the red zone, and Hunter Henry is gone. So there is that.
All right, and I will admit I actually did the drafters draft.
I love how you're so uncomfortable right now.
I'm not saying his name. I did a drafters draft, and I will say that a guy who, has a word for something you do in the kitchen might have ended up on one of those teams. By the way, 25% match bonus right now, still on drafters. Nice. 2 days left to get your best ball teams in. I'm doing another one tonight. Hopefully I get medium in the draft again.
Should we refer to him as Joey Chef?
Joey Chef?
I
could deal with that. I could deal with Joey Chef.
Okay, Joey Chef. We could do Joey Chef. That way you don't.
I don't
have
do
to,
nicknames because
that...
Pat Mayo gets mad at me every time I come up with a nickname, and he's like, they're the worst ever. So I don't do nicknames anymore. The only good one I ever came up with, and he's not around anymore, is Mohammed Sanu. It was Mohammed Snoo from Futurama.
Oh,
so
gosh,
that was the only one he ever liked.
Like your little Futurama little clip in the intro.
Really? I do have two. There's two in there.
Did I miss the first one?
Actually, wait. No, there's three.
I might have.
There's three.
I have to go back and find them then.
Yes, you do.
I dance to it every single time it's on.
There's Farnsworth, Bender, and Fry. There's three different ones.
Okay.
There used to be four because I had Zoidberg in there for a while. So, all right. We should know
Okay,
that
so
now.
Joey Chef is an opportunity late tight end. If you're looking at one, I would prefer that over Gerald Everett.
Everybody's going to turn it into the show right at this point. They'll be like, who the hell is Joey Chef?
Joey Chef!
There's not even a Joseph out here. What are we doing over here? Before we get back to our list, another question. Mick Matto Poker. Whatever. Poker's in your name. You're cool. More likely to steal workload from Gaskin, Brown, or Ahmed. Do you see all three getting work? So we addressed this before. Yes, all three are going to get work. I think Gaskin is around 50%. It's not going to be the volume we had hoped. But I don't think it's Ahmed or Brown if something were to happen. I think they are clearly split, and one game might be one game might be the next, and it's going to be basically, for all intents and purposes, Lauren, I see this as the Buccaneers behind Gaskin.
Yeah, that's a very good comparison. I think Gaskin is the, quote, number one. I'm using a lot of air quotes today. Gaskin is the, quote, number one, and then the 2A, 2B are going to be Salva and Ahmed and Malcolm Brown, but this is really going to be a pretty solid rotation between the three of them.
I'm laughing over here because you're ready for a Friends reference.
Oh, boy. Here we go. Hit me.
Lauren, you don't have to say sorry. For anybody that knows, when Joey was doing this, sorry, and he did it close because he said, Ross says, you're doing it wrong, and then he goes, sorry. It's like, that's
sorry.
Yeah. All right. Last couple before we get out of here. So this is the simple question. Might be the most simplest question of the day, Lauren. I put this in the document. I put this in my waivers. So there's a portion of my waivers every single week, Lauren, since you're also new to that as well. I tried to tell you. And what it is it's not, I make it a joke because people always say I sound that way anyway, but it's also like, if I it started a few years ago because I was putting the same guys in the waivers because it's a 60% threshold on Yahoo. So at 45%, if I had mentioned the guy 4 weeks in a row, it's like, I don't have anything left to say at this point. Like, I've been telling you the same thing for 4 weeks. If you don't want to pick him up, You just don't want him. So that's where I say I tried to tell you. Like, I'm not going to put him in here next week, even if he's still only at 50%, because I'm just not going to keep repeating myself. So week 1 is different because I haven't told you about anybody yet. But I put guys in there that, like, we've talked about a lot in the offseason. And my question to you, Lauren, was there was 3. Darnell Mooney, Tyrell Williams, and Sterling Shepard are still not 60% rostered on Yahoo. And my question in the article and my question to you is, how the hell are they available?
I don't know. That shocked me because when I did look at the notes, I'm like, no, that has to be wrong. So I went and I checked, and you are right. I think Darnell Mooney came close. He's like at 52% or something with Yahoo. That's still not enough. It's not enough, people. I don't like Tyrell Williams nearly as much as my cohort over here. But for Darnell Mooney, what are you waiting for? Get him on your squad. Same thing with Sterling Shepard. I also like Darius Slayton a lot as well. I mean, why not? Why not have him on there? Worst case scenario, just
if Galladay's out
into the waiver wire.
If Galladay's out, who's the 1 and 2 wide receivers for the Giants?
I think that's going to be Sterling Shepard and Darius Slayton.
Yeah, and what's going on with Evan Ingram right now?
Oh, he
also hurt. Yeah, I'm with you. Another situation again. So this is the last one, Lauren. Similar to all this is he's not even 100%. We still don't even know. This is why, again, you have time to set your lineups. And I say that because we're going to get more news on Wednesdays especially, and that's why a lot of the start sits will
it's going to be big. Yeah.
But Marquise Brown sounds like he might be ready for week 1. And you just huff, but there is no Bateman. Bateman is not back for weeks. Marquise Brown, I brought this up in the waiver column, Lauren. He wasn't as roller coaster as people think he was. Like, it wasn't one good week, one bad week, one good week, one bad week. He actually went through a lull and then came back. So he had about a 4 or 5 week lull. And then towards the end of the season, he was double digits the rest of the way, including the playoffs. And I'm not saying this to be like, go get Hollywood Brown, put him in all your lineups, blah, blah, blah. But if Sammy Watkins isn't ready for week 1 and there is no Bateman, we're just back to rinse and repeat last year, which is down of a year as Lamar Jackson just had as a passer. He was still a top 45 wide receiver, even with the lull. So I say this to say, Lauren, is go get Marquise Brown. Like, Marquise Brown shouldn't be on waivers, period.
Yeah, I agree with you. And my original huff face when you first mentioned his name is he's dealing with a hamstring issue, and that is annoying because hamstring, that's soft tissue, and the hamstrings, they linger and they linger. So I don't know how serious it really is for Hollywood Brown, but hopefully it's not. But even, oh man, he is one of those guys you should have him stashed. If he's available, have him stashed. If you drafted him, don't freak out. Keep him, see how this is going to go for all of the reasons that you said, because there is only so much, as you called it, rinse and repeat that you can do with Mark Andrews, even though he just got that huge contract, which is super great because I just drafted him in a lot of leagues. It's just one of those things where they need to have that kind of diversity in their offensive scheme with no J.K. Dobbins. I mean, I really hope he gets better. So that's kind of the whole huff noise for me was like, I hope he gets better.
Hey, if nothing else, and he's not even a starter for you, if Marquise Brown goes off for 100 and a touchdown in week 1, people are going to come after him like crazy and trade.
I want him. All right. What can I get?
There you go.
Look at their roster.
Before we get out of here, we did bold calls with Chris and myself yesterday. These are, I will have to say, Lauren, before you even get to say them, and no. So
I'm scared.
We gave explanations for how our bold calls could happen. And I will say some of them were pretty dang bold, but I don't know if any of them get as bold as your 3. I don't even think they kind of hold a candle to how bold yours are. So you're going super, super, super bold. So you can tell me all 3. You can go one by one. You can explain them or whatever, but you got 3 bold calls. So floor is yours, Lauren.
Thank you. I am very en fuego and very spicy when it comes to my take. So I had fun with these, but I kind of wouldn't be surprised if at least 2 out of the 3 didn't happen. But I'll start with my one for my Saints love, I guess you could call it. But I predict that Jameis Winston will not throw an interception for the first 4 weeks of the NFL season. And the reason I say
that might be the boldest one ever.
It is. It's very fiery. It's very fiery. Did you need some water to douse yourself? It's a little warm. But the thing is that he had an entire season to try to learn from these mistakes, to try to get a little bit of maturity, if that's humanly possible, for Jameis Winston behind Drew Brees. And I think it might have been a slice of humble pie that it was Taysom Hill who ended up getting the start. And then the fact that there was even still a question at quarterback, that really had to dig down deep into Jameis Winston's head. And I think that he is going to be a little bit more careful than what we're used to seeing from Jameis Winston. And I think those big, deep, crazy plays to Marquez Callaway are going to be a result of Marquez Callaway being really good and not being an interception. So I call that he will not throw an interception for the first 4 weeks of the season.
Hey, kudos, Phil Mike. You made me openly laugh in the middle of Lauren's explanation because he said that's like asking a bird not to fly.
It is true. It's true. But sometimes that bird can rest and waddle.
Last two, rapid fire these because
all right.
We got to get Tino ready for Mean Streets, which you should stay tuned for. Mean Streets up next at noon.
I got you. Okay, so I believe that the top 3 quarterbacks after said week 4 are going to all 3 be rookies. I think it'll be Zach Wilson, Trevor Lawrence, and Justin Fields, who will finish 1, 2, and 3 on the fantasy quarterback list at the end of week 4. And then also I think that CEH, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, will not be the target leader in the running back room. I think that is going to be Jerick McKinnon. I cannot take kudos for that. I give that to Laquan Jones, my buddy. But yeah, it was kind of an intriguing argument. But yeah, spicy, bold. Get him out.
So does that come all the way back to the Darrell Williams situation? Or maybe you don't pick up Darrell Williams because you think Jerick McKinnon is going to be too much of a factor?
It is a possibility. I actually kind of wouldn't mind taking Jerick McKinnon because he's super late in drafts, and I think he will be involved in the passing game a little bit more than Clyde Edwards-Helaire. But that's not to say that I don't think Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going to be amazing. I think he will, just not in the passing game.
All right. Fair enough. Make sure you're following Lauren at Stepmom Lauren and on her website, and make sure checking everything out at FTN and The Athletic, theathletic.com/BetsTV. Full capitals for all of them, and you get a first free month. Also, join it. Hey, you might get in the same draft as me, and you can snipe all my players and watch me rage out in the middle of a drafters draft. It's 25% match bonus if you want to get over to that. We'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow we will answer your start-sit questions and talk rankings, week 1 rankings. And football's here. Lauren's super excited. Lauren's dancing. Back with Jeff Ratcliffe tomorrow at 2 p.m. Love you guys. See you later.